Would you like some orange and blue today? Hello? Anya Red. Hey Floor, you won't believe it. Nibbles is back! I know? Apparently he wandered too close to the entropy core and everyone thought he was dead. But he's wandered into my office just now. What's even weirder is he looks younger? He looks like a kitten again? I think the entropy core did something weird to him. He seems okay though. Just straight up undid most of Nibbles' life. In certain philosophical terms, it's like Nibbles is dead. Kinda. The cat that Nibbles was. Nibbles led a whole life up to the age of, I don't know, 7 or whatever the fuck. I don't know how old Nibbles was. And now they're a kitten again? You've unwritten that person, or whatever, what do you want to call it, that creature, and have replaced them with somebody who essentially is, like, getting a new attempt at life, but not in the way that people, like, usually fantasize about, which involves remembering any of it. You just unwrote most of Nibbles' history and replaced them with a new cat. It's going from that original starting point. So the adult Nibbles is dead, in a way. You ever think about how weird it is that there's just signs everywhere saying what building we're in, when the entire place is the Entropy Center as far as I can tell? Like, that's weird, right? This game just constantly tells us where we are, which is also doubles as the name of the game. I don't know. Like, to be clear, there's like a line, obviously, like, you'll see I expect to see the branding in places. Like, it makes sense that my gun says Entropy Center on it. Kind of like how, like, stuff would be branded as being, like, Aperture Science branding. It's just the absolutely massive television screen just dedicated to saying Entropy Center all day feels weirder to me. Like, it's not like a watermark. It's not like this is a screen that normally shows other things, but there's a watermark that it shows when it's not doing something else, or corner, like a branding in the corner of the screen, or a number of other things. It's just, you get the impression that screen genuinely is just meant to say Entropy Center all day. And that's way weirder. Hi there. Please start shooting me so I can move on with my life. Excuse me? Can you not see me? Alright, well. Bye. Oh, he exploded against the wall. That's not supposed to exist. What's that light? I don't think it's that. Gonna hang out here. This is probably the safe spot. This game would never betray me. Is there a door down there? So where was that catwalk going if there's no door there? Huh. We are rumbling. Oh, that. Oh, I forgot about these. We haven't seen one of these in ages. They don't have that much, they didn't have that much going on before necessarily. Okay. I'm guessing it's at just the right height where you can interrupt this beam. Yep. What's the beam do? Okay, so it makes the big eye strain wall go away. This button and this button are needed to open the door, so probably need to put all the assets that I use, make them end here. They're implying I want to put a bounce pad right here for some reason to bounce across there. There must be like a launcher or something. I'm not clear. Oh, hello. It's our way back out. It goes all the way. Oh, there's the thingy. It's so weird that these are like seemingly manufactured in a lab to be a really specific tool, but they just feel like garbage. Like it just looks like a crumpled piece of garbage. Like I don't know why it's designed in that way specifically. That opens that. So a struggle here is going to be that I can't move that around. So I wonder if there's another tool somewhere? It's like, for example, I could put this here, then put it here, and then I could bounce across something, and then rewind it back to here. But I can't rewind that guy onto here, because those guys are immune to the entire rewind mechanic. That's why I criticized this before, that the weird tower objects are like immune to time, because the time only affects them standing back up, so it can't affect them, oops. It can't affect them moving around the map, which feels like a really limiting move set for the mechanics. But I think that might mean we need to find another... There we go. Yep, there's another one. Yerp. Okay, so I'll put you here. And I'll rewind you back down. Ta-da! Is my goal to bounce over there? I don't think so. I think this is just them hiding... Yeah, I think they just hid both of the bounce pads elsewhere. I think this is an example of dead level, where all that doesn't matter now. So I now have all the tools. And so that was just like some busy work they put at the beginning of missions sometimes. A lot of puzzle games do that. I've discussed dead level as a concept though, so it's kind of... I don't need to dig into that again. If you don't remember what my explanation was... I don't know, man, just rewatch the entire playthrough. Give me that added revenue. So you need to go there, but I need you to take me upstairs. That's probably not what I'm supposed to do. Alright, so somehow I get across this level. The balcony seems really high, so it's probably not that. But it could be, I don't know. Maybe this has to be here specifically? Well. I'm not sure if the physics is going to play out here, but it just seems like the only shape the level does. So I'm not sure what else I would do here. There we go. And to rewind you No, has it been too long? It's not. Oh no, it's gonna make it back to the platform eventually. Just give it 7 more years. I'll take a sip of my water. And by sip, I mean I'm chugging my water. I'm drinking so much of my water. There we go. Alright, so. That was it. Yeah. Kind of lame mechanics. The tower block just sucks because it can't be rewound in the level space. So it literally is just a gun. It's just a platform you turn on and off with your gun. And so they tried to pad this out by having me go find the 2 platforms, one up there and one over there. But the puzzle itself was literally just, you need to bounce on these 2 spots to get here, and then put them back on the button afterwards. Which just isn't all that deep. Like, they try to come up with something for the big block to do, but literally all they can do is be like, it blocks this laser in the one position that it can be in. Because you can't move it mid-puzzle when you're actually solving it. There's nothing to do there.
This is an Entropy Centre emergency announcement. Urgent rewind of Earth required. Cataclysmic collision approaching.
Cataclysmic collision approaching.
Feel the heat from the earth now. I didn't want to say anything, but you've been sweating all over me for the past hour. Sorry.
No, I haven't. They wrote that dialogue, but you wouldn't have had her again for an hour. Like, I've been actively wasting time by being a guy who talks at the video game, so I've made it take longer than normal. But so if you're playing the game normally, you've definitely not had her for an hour since she was gone before. And she was gone for a while. To all Entropy Center staff, we regretfully announce that the Entropy Center is now following a system-wide evacuation protocol. Please stop all activities and head to the evacuation transport bays. CEO Cole Ericon has declared a company-wide evacuation protocol due to threat of life at the Entropy Center. This must be followed by all staff members. Thank you and good luck. The Entropy Center. So we already knew there was an evacuation. I definitely wish that more of the emails had something to say than they do. Because they very frequently just reiterate the really basic information, almost as if they just were like told to write something there, but there's just not much else to the narrative. It really feels like that glisten is supposed to be like that's supposed to be for the sun on Earth, and not for this particular background. Let's see here. Oop, don't fall. Is that the whole puzzle? It's starting to have felt very brave that the game claimed that the puzzles were getting extremely hard. Like, Let's see here. I guess that was the intermission between puzzles. Just a little traversal thing. Laser? This laser does what? It opens this door. This door opens to give me this box thingy and a staircase. Staircase takes me up here. Yep. But at what cost? If I shoot a laser over here, this thing goes up. There's another laser box up there, but it's on top of some glass. A laser on top of the block would get that. It's probably how I have to do that one. The other one will shoot there. So I need to get both of them to continue. Oh, and this button's just gonna turn off this barrier. In the meantime, I believe I can just shoot over here. Oops. So yeah, you have to be able to block and unblock this thing. Without using time powers, because this thing blocks you from getting around with your time powers like normal. I might have to rapidly grab this and jump on. Ah. Ah. Ah, why is it start to grab? Nope. Nope. Okay, so... So right now the question is, how do I block and unblock this laser while I'm over here? And you can't use the rewind tool on this, because your gun just makes it go taller and shorter. And this is behind a barrier, so I can't change where it's pointing. And it normally shoots that, which gives me a staircase, which just takes me up there. But I can't take this out yet. So being up there seems kind of pointless. I'm not sure what the point is of having an upstairs. It looks like it's out of line of sight of that thing. I don't know if you're even able to shoot that from up there once you get it out. You can't rewind this thing because when you get in and out, your time gets reset, so I can't do any motions in here and then rewind them. I'm just wondering what the value is of this particular spot. Why can I do this? Because the staircase feels like it implies that it has a purpose. Oh, is it literally just so I can shoot over there? That's goofy, because I have a block that makes me taller, so you would think that I use the block to laser that spot. Do I really just point two lasers at these two things, then take the block over there and just go up it? Because like, I feel like it wouldn't have been that hard to set the block up like here, and then it'd be pointing in that direction with the laser, and then I raise it up, and then I hop over there with the lasers pointing there, and I could have probably done that. It just seems kind of like an uninspired thing if that is the way it works. But we'll see. But I am a bit confounded by this particular elevator. I can be a bit more stubborn with the spacing to give myself a little more time. Which might be all I need. Yep, I guess that's it. Guess I have to use the elevator platform itself. Oops. I forgot to press a button. I'm a little worried because I feel like the puzzle quality itself is degrading at this point. Because, like, this is... They told me this is the hard part of the game. And, like, it's the post-climax part of the game where they can be like, time to mix all of the different mechanics together into a big, satisfying, crazy puzzle where everything can happen. Like, this is them being free to no longer introduce new gameplay mechanics and instead evolve the system forward. But this is, like, at best, just like a process. Like, there's just an order of operations in which to do stuff in, but it's not like a deep solution. Like, there's just a dedicated staircase where I just take that to shoot that, and that's the puzzle. And then I shoot this one here. Like, you know what I mean, right? Like, you know what a satisfying puzzle is in a Portal game, and you also know what a satisfying puzzle was in this game. Like, this game has had better puzzles, but at this point in the game, this is what they're doing? Just go get the cube, go get the cube, go get the cube. Oh, you have the lasers now. Point them at the things. Like, that's, we've had a few of these now where it's just like we have to go collect the puzzle items, but then once we have them, the puzzle is almost non-existent. But getting them, but the process of getting them wasn't really a puzzle. It's just like, it's like a fetch quest almost with a slight barrier that you have to, like, just for a moment be like, hang on a minute. Ah, right. And then you do it. Evacuation terminal. Automated evacuation log. Evac 0403-245. Evacuation procedure started. Initializing shuttle. Personnel boarding shuttle. Waiting. Shuttle personnel override initiated. Exit doors opening. Exit bay door open successfully. Shuttle engine starting. Waiting. Warning. Approaching cataclysmic impact. Contact with shuttle has been lost. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact has been lost. Retrying connection. Contact has been lost. Yep. So one of the cataclysms happened right when the shuttle took off, so everyone died in the same thing together. Why? Wait. I'm sorry. I'm seeing more plot holes again. So you guys reset this loop hundreds, if not thousands of times. You've documented everything you can about the cataclysm over and over again, and you've been trying to give them the data about it, but it keeps happening the same way without changes. So shouldn't you know when the shockwaves that are bad happen? Like, if you're trying to evacuate without getting blown up, then shouldn't you know when it's going to happen and then not time the evacuation to be that time? It's like nobody's learning anything from the time loops, I guess. I guess the ambiguity is I'm not sure if the cataclysm was... Well, the cataclysm always means Earth, it doesn't mean us. They don't use that term to refer to the station itself, I don't think. Uh-oh. Or was I supposed to do that? And now it points that way. Yeah, I was supposed to do that before I continued. And now I need to go get the button. I need to get the box and bring it back over here. And then rewind it back to there. Do. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Yerp. Ta-da! Now check every screen for emails. You start to wish that there was like an indicator on the devices themselves. Uh-oh. Shit's breaking, y'all. Cole Erickson. To all Entropy Center staff, I hope you are doing well and preparing for the imminent evacuation in a couple of hours. For many of you, this will be a bittersweet moment to return to your families and enjoy the remainder of the time we have here. Please note that I don't take this decision lightly, nor is it a mere decision by myself alone. The decision— you just said decision so many times! That's just some awkward writing. I know that he's not having a bad time, but just outside of the game, the writers, you would think would not do that. The decision has been unanimous across the Entropy Center board. After meetings with the Entropy Embassy on Earth earlier today, it is clear that our operation is not working as efficiently as it used to. As you all know, we initiated Rewind Event 6293 last week, and unfortunately it has led to the same cataclysmic event occurring just a week later. This has happened thousands of times now over the span of several years, and it has felt like a never-ending cycle for many of us. Unfortunately, Earth correcting their course in the timeline is out of our control, no matter how much data or predictions we send them. I still don't see why you'd want to give up on the ability to be immortal, or at least live your life without being in a cataclysm if we can keep looping. It's now at the point where we can't generate enough entropy energy quickly enough to repair our own defenses. Okay, there it is. Which is why we are declaring a threat to safety. We'll be rewinding Earth 2 years, using every last bit of entropy energy we have. We know our future now, but I hope we can enjoy these final years on Earth, enjoying what we have, what we do have. I've heard it's anarchy down there, so please stay safe, everyone. Best, Cole Erickson. Is that better? They made it. It feels like a strange choice. Let's see here. So 6,293 times 7 is 44,000 and 51 days. So divided by 365. 120 years. So you can only do a rewind of yourself twice a month? It's unclear how much you can rewind yourself by. How long do people live up here? They said that they rewound it and then the cataclysm happened again a week later, and then they've done that 6,293 times. So they've been rewinding this one cataclysm for 120 years. Did they keep getting new staff members from Earth even though Earth isn't progressing in time? Or something? Or is this multiple generations? Like, are they birthing new people up here and then raising them to be entropy employees? I want follow-up. I'm just really curious about how they can be doing this for 120 years on this one cataclysm alone, let alone the rest of what this facility did. Because they rewound this one cataclysm 6,000 times, but their overall number of cataclysms they've rewound was like 13,000, I think, was what we read earlier. There must be something I can rewind. There it is. That might not be the literal exact correct number, because it might not always be a week or something. Uh-oh. Oh, is that good? That's good. But it would still be a very long time. Like, more than a lifetime career of any human being ever at a job, I would assume. So that raises its own question. So the reason this is all falling apart is because this facility takes damage from the cataclysms that they're trying to rewind. And they can't repair themselves anymore. It feels like you would notice that the cataclysm's going to happen and just rewind Earth before it damages the moon. I don't know, I'm just poking more holes everywhere, I guess, but like it definitely feels like they could just rewind. Oopsie. It definitely feels like they could just rewind the Earth again at the beginning of the cataclysm, or even before it fully happens, based on the signs that, like, they must be detectable the cataclysm's happening on some level before it creates some sort of nightmare shockwave that harms the facility. Like, that feels like their own damn fault if they're letting that happen at that point. This does kind of feel like the epitome of like, don't think about it, don't think about it. Which is a bit of a mistake, potentially, because it's like, you're making a puzzle game. You're making games for people that want to think about stuff. Okay, this is the door.
Approaching cataclysmic potential. Detected. Urgent rewind required.
Detecting approaching shockwave from the cataclysmic event on Earth. We're almost at the main deck. We should hurry.
I'm guessing nothing good happens if that hits us.
I shall refer back to the egg I mentioned previously.
Ah, yes. Cooked. Got it.
We're about to die. We're about to get irradiated. Oops. It does not want me to pick it up. It fights me. It just looks like it's slamming into the wall. I guess it's gonna jump over. The pizza's always so gross. Oh, 501 or 1501. There's
Analysis detect that, although heavily destroyed, the following puzzle areas are still functional. I also detect that the entropy device is almost charged enough to be activated. A few more puzzle areas and it should be ready.
Good to hear, because my brain hurts.
The following puzzles generate the most entropy yield out of all the puzzles in the center. You're doing great.
that platform just kind of goes over there. So at this point, we just kind of gave up on making sense, didn't we? I think they made a point to make every single elevator be on a lift or a rail. This one just floats across the level magically. It's just magic. Like, I don't think anything in the game so far can explain how this elevator works. Like, that's just not how the stuff... Everything's been very direct, physical objects that are powered and controlled through normal means, and then they just kind of said, fuck it. Toilet. Is this a Rick and Morty reference? I'm not sure, actually. But I think... Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think we've never seen anything like that elevator behaving that way in this entire game. That's kind of funny. So this door opens somehow. That door opens from laser, and then that also needs a laser. Does this lift line up with each of these? And then I power the lift to make the laser do the thingy. It feels like it follows the path. That hole is bad. I will die. Laser. Jesus, okay. Yep. Yep. Alright, so what's this one do? Ah, it goes that way. So if I press this button... I guess this should be pretty doable. Just need to freeze it in midair. The main struggle is just not being able to see the things, so I have to go by sound and move in pulses. There we go. This seems to be once again just to assemble all the items puzzle. Or it's just I don't have access to all the items at first. Because yeah, that seems like dead level now, right? Like that was just to get this, so we're done with that. So we just see what else the game wants me to do now. It might want me to use the elevator to get up there. At this point, I think they want me to grab this on foot and take it up here. That one opens the door. That one opens that barrier in that direction. So that turns that thingy off. That's where I want to go ultimately. I will need this button pressed to do that stuff. Alright, so I want to get over here. This will take us up here. Give me a light bridge to the end. And then I rewind this back to the spot that does this. Oopsie. God damn it. Sometimes I really wish I could undo rewinds. Can I get back down there? All right, let's do it all again. I didn't set the reset point, so it just went past the point I wanted to go to. Waka waka. Wish you could aim this better. I'm just trying to put it in a spot where I can see it. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. The level design here feels like it's kind of falling flat puzzle-wise. It feels like this became less puzzles and more like it feels less like solving puzzles and more like baking. As in, you know, a thing that's frequently you following. You stop freaking out. You freaking me out. It feels like baking, like you're following instructions essentially. Like there's just like the next thing to do and the next thing to do, and it's all like pretty self-evident. Like I do have to pay attention on some level, but it's like they keep doing the thing that I referred to as creating dead level, and then doing that instead of puzzles.
Once we rewind Earth, then what?
The Entropy Centre automatically sends the Cataclysm data to Earth once it has been rewound, allowing them to realign their future to a more positive outcome.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, why would we believe that it'll work? It's never worked a single time. We know for a fact it hasn't worked for 6,000 times, and they have not learned anything to change it this time. That's kind of an issue. In fact, we don't even know what is happening down there, like what the Cataclysm is, because we have amnesia, and no one writes anything down, so we don't know what's causing the end of the world. Alright, let's see. This one might be a puzzle just due to the fact that I have to unpack what's even going on in it. So that opens that door. I guess a laser raises this elevator. Where's the exit? Exit's up there. Requires a laser there. And something on this platform. So we need a platform and a laser to make these two things happen. So let's go ahead and go upstairs and see what there is to be revealed. Because I need to find another item in order to make most of this work, basically. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so I'm up here, and then that requires that. Okay, so I didn't really fully plan out what I was going to do next there, I guess. Is there another item anywhere? Maybe past that barrier? Okay, so this door has to open, and then I have to jump over there. So I guess... you need to be blue and put here in the middle. Make that a reset point so I don't lose it. Next, you have to push this button, which will get me through there. And then next, you have to red laser. So then I'll rewind to it. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm over here. We rewind you back to being on the button. Jump on up here, and then there should be a second object in this level, yep. Because I need to be able to do both those things. So there's always going to be more. So now I'm in a separate level, which I don't think has a puzzle. Let's see. Is this light bridge? That is light bridge. Okay. That'll at least make some kind of sense. Okay, so one of you is going to become a light bridge. Because I need to be able to get from probably over there to over there. Because it's very far away from everything. I shouldn't need either of you to be blue anymore. So you're probably going to be a laser. So put the light bridge on here, reset it, so that it stays there. Then I'll just politely take it onto the bridge. Elevator. Then with you, I'll point you at this spot and reset you, so that's your end point. Then I'll do this. And that. And that might just be the level solved, essentially. I was definitely bracing for more complexity at the end. Of like, oh, what do I gotta do here? But I think that's it. Yeah. I think I solved it. I feel like there were harder puzzles before than this. I feel like these are easier than before, despite being called the hardest ones over and over again. Because one, they just said they were the hardest at one point, but then also when they say separately, these generate the most energy and stuff, that also means that they're the hardest ones. Did I break this one by Oh, that's annoying. Yeah. Alright. When I briefly lasered up that elevator for a moment, it ran out the clock on this guy. Alright, let's do it again. I was worried about the elevator because it takes time. Literally. Oopsie. You do need to be here specifically. Me hitting R unconsciously is very bad. There we go. We don't want you to go very high up or you screw us. There we go. We want it off the elevator because I don't want it to freak out other stuff when I move it. Okay, so hopefully the dotted line will now take me, will now extend back to where the origin point was. Looks like it's gonna make it. It looks kind of close. There's no dotted line on the actual platform. Not quite, but it probably will be close enough. Okay. Ta-da! Yeah, oop. Yeah, it's definitely feeling like their idea of escalating the puzzles isn't to make them more complicated in a, like, puzzle-solving kind of way, but just to add more steps at the beginning of the puzzle where you have to assemble the pieces from around where they're scattered around the level, and they're treating that as complexity and then calling these levels harder. But I feel like you're less likely to get stuck on these levels, which is a measurement of them being easier. That opens that door. Half the difficulty when you walk in is just trying to tell what the level's shaped like, because you're stuck on the floor, and these are very, very, very tall platforms, and you're just like... It lacks the visual clarity that Portal often has, so you're just like, where's the final thing? And you're trying to figure out where the connectors are and where you're going. Alright, so a laser will open this door. There's a light bridge, there's no transforming barriers, so I don't think we're gonna have a bounce pad, unless there's one up there. But there's an energy bridge. So pressing that button opens that door, shooting that opens that door. That is the laser. But the laser's stuck in here. There must be a way to get the laser out of here, I think, because how else would I ever shoot that, right? Yeah, it can't aim that low. But if I put it through here, it disintegrates and resets. Let's see. Yeah, for the starting bit, though, I can't get around yet, but I can put you here. So lets me block this. And at least try to see what's up here and see if there's any more items. Purple and orange? Hello. Is the game telling me to put a light bridge here by putting the purple on the curb, I wonder? Because purple is the light bridge color. Oh, there's a bounce pad. That makes more sense. Okay. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-doo. Okay, so maybe you do use a bounce pad to get across here. I could almost do it right now, but the door won't be open. Greetings. Oh geez, that was startling. I didn't mean to do that. So now I can probably use a combination of the bounce pad and the light bridge. Oopsie. To get that laser cube out of that room. Let's see. Set your reset point up here. If I do it right, I should be able to get you back out. Ah, stuck. Oh! Did not necessarily mean to fall out, which just adds a reset time to me getting back here so I can get this. There we go. Don't want to lose it in there. Okay, so now we have these items. Yeah, given that you need the light bridge to get across there, you probably do need the bounce pad to be here to get across the final bit. But that should take care of that. You can be my button presser. I will need your help to press that button. But you ultimately need to be over here. That's how this door opens. So set these to your starting points. And I feel like I already solved it, which it doesn't feel like that much puzzle. Let's see, did I make the mistake of resetting the laser? I might have accidentally reset the laser, so I have to redo this all again. We'll see. No, not you. Okay, now there it goes. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, this is... As far as, like, solving the room goes, there's basically not even a puzzle. There's just, like, a bunch of activities to do. It's like, you get a little satisfaction from that, but... A lot of the puzzle comes from, like, seeing the kind of, like, contradiction in the level design, where you're like, hang on a minute, based on the rules of how this stuff works, this should be impossible, kind of conundrums, and then you realize your assumption that you had to overcome, or what the designers are teaching you, or what the trick is. There isn't really like a trick to these levels. You just do the obvious thing that lets you continue forward, and it's more like untangling a knot, and less so like a puzzle specifically. It's like technically a puzzle, but it's just like, it's not the stuff you would call the end game of a puzzle game.
Analysis detected that this should be the last puzzle area. Once this is complete, the entropy device should have sufficient energy to be enabled.
I'm at the last level now? Is that what you mean? They use area to refer to both the floor and individual rooms, so it's hard to know what they mean, because area is such non-specific language. What if I'm the last puzzle area? I mean, what if that's why my name's that? Whoa! Is there an elevator up there or something? Oh, it's the lock. They make it really hard to tell sometimes. The way they draped it, it's like it's really hard to get line of sight of what it's doing. Okay, so these two have to be pressed at the end. There's just a bunch of glass here? Okay. And a cube in the middle of the glass area. This side is glass, but this side is a grating. But if you just get over there, you can just hop on that to get out, I guess. So my objective is just to get to the cube, not necessarily how to get the cube out, because it sounds like you just get it out for free. In which case, you probably just need this to be purple. And just point over there. Then if you can find out how to get in, which I guess is up there, you'll just, like, hop there. So that's going to be the end point of this cube, because it's going to ultimately let me get that. But I need to figure out how I solve the room with it now. I think this is a laser that makes this bridge happen, but I don't know how to get up there yet still. Bounce, bounce, laser. Seems straightforward. Just a matter of time budget right now, like whether or not I'm gonna run out of time budget. Looks like I didn't. And then it turns back into a bridge item. And it bridges all over the place. And it says it's bridging time. Alright, hopefully you can walk on this. I didn't necessarily put it where I should have to make it the safest route across there. I've got the cube. And that's that. So there's the usual thing where they give me a process just to get the item so far, but that means that all the level I interacted with so far is now dead level, like none of it matters anymore. It's irrelevant. Alright, so now my goal is to press these buttons and get up there. Okay, not all of it's irrelevant, because I have to bounce up there twice to get over here. So one of you is going to be a bounce pad that lets me get up there, the other one's going to be a light bridge that shoots me across. And I think the main trick to this level is that... So the two items are going to end up on these two platforms here. That's their endpoints. I believe the main trick to this level is the fact that at the end, I need to have a bounce pad up there with me. Because I don't think there's a way to get from there to there without a bounce pad. That's probably approximately the height of that. And I don't think anything else will do it for me. Probably. One of these could be the light bridge. The idea is just that I need to... I basically just need to be able to take a bounce pad up there with me. That... Ooh, I'm trying to piece together the timing. Because it's the whole thing where whatever you're thinking of, you have to then run it backwards for the recording process, and that's what I'm, like, pausing on here. So a minute ago I did bounce pad, and then I jumped across here, rewound it back to there, and then I was up there. I think I need to do that with one of them, and then the other one will also be a bounce pad, and I'm carrying it with me up there. And so by carrying it up there, I can then rewind the bounce pad up to there. But it'll be a bounce pad that has to start over here. It has to be ready to rewind all the way back to being one of these guys. It stands out to me that, like, they didn't have anything more complicated to do. Like, the light bridge has interactions. It's like, do this over there, do that over there, whoa. But their idea of adding complexity to this level was just, there's one laser pad right here in the middle of the level, just do it for a second. There's not like a trick to shooting it with the laser. It's just like, in the middle of the sequence of things I was doing, in order to do that, you have to do the laser, so it's just, turn it red, point at the laser, okay, now do the other thing. Like, it's not like... This isn't puzzly. This right here is just instructions. Like, oh, I have to do them in that order? Okay. So, like, so much of this game devolved into go from point A to point B, here's the series of obstacles, almost like QuickTime events. Like and that's why I compared it to baking. It's like the idea that you're just following recipes. That's basically what you're doing. Like, you have to look at the map, then read it backwards, and that's it. This entire level's not like this. Like, this last bit here that I'm figuring out right now is kind of complicated and kind of neat. But that part in particular, like, they literally included this entire laser element just as a token gesture, because it looks the level looks more complicated if you have all three colors here. But, like, these two are the ones that meaningfully interact with the environment and give you a puzzle here. That one was just a waste of time they put in to make it look like all three colors had a role in this puzzle, when it really didn't. And that's the kind of thing where I'm just like, the puzzles are starting to feel like they just kind of ran out of ideas at some point. Ta-da. Ta-da. Alright, we'll see if I'm right about this or not, but I think I need to just grab this and bounce my way through the level, essentially. I feel like my plan is pretty easy to... Oh, fuck. I feel like my plan's pretty easy to execute on, given infinite resources. So part of my concern, though, is that my plan might not be doable within the time budget that the game operates on, which has been basically never a limitation on my ability to solve puzzles before. But my particular idea here might be too far outside of the normal standards for doing a thing. But yeah, I forgot to rewind my thingy last time, so I just jumped off. Wait, no, I gotta hop here. Don't know why I stopped there. Is that a lock too? Alright, that's the beam thing. So it's now up here. Let's get you out of the way. I'm almost there. Get like right here. Oh, they gave me more time budget. I'm up to 40 seconds. That's like well beyond how far it normally lets me go. Okay, so now this one gets to be the gate. I should put it back on this thing. Q, not R. Let's rewind as far back as I can, because I want to reset its timer as much as I can, so it can rewind back to its base, hopefully. Ta-da! So now I just need to hope they both rewind back to their home successfully. See, that was kind of clever, the way that you have to use one as the bounce pad for the other, both of them being bounce pads, so that you can then trick the bounce pad into being all the way up there. See, there was a contradiction there where it's like, ah, I use a bounce pad to get intuitively, like, I go across the level with the bridge to get over here. I just need to use the bounce pad to get across here. But then the end requires you to have the bounce pad past the bridge, and you're like, what? And that took a little moment to figure out. Which is why that part's a satisfying puzzle. If it's the last puzzle, they'll be very confused, and that felt like she implied that, but she might just mean this is the last world of puzzles, and she was just saying it now because she already had dialogue last level that she was busy with. But it's still hard to say that these are like... It's weird that these are supposed to be the highest entropy puzzles, because they just aren't that big of a deal.
An Entropy Centre Master Puzzle Operative Badge has been sent to your quarters.
I can't believe
That was the last puzzle of the game?
You had it in you.
Wait, it was?
Entropy device.
And now it's just action level, okay.
Entrance to the main deck should be at the end of this bridge.
Ah! Rude. Let's do it the normal way. Where are they? Oopsie. Those are hard to aim, but also who cares? That really was the last one, huh? Okay. There might still be puzzles. That's just the last test chamber. Ooh! That mountain exploded. Does it fall apart every time I... Nope. Bye-bye. Hello. Boing. What? Uh-huh. You died to... Ow! I guess something hit me. Alright, let's try this again, I guess. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Man, this game's idea of action sequences just kind of blows. I'm in first person, I can't tell what my surroundings are. I don't know why I can never hit that guy. Oh, there's a guy here. Was it him this whole time? I thought the level was killing me with physics. It was just him, maybe. It's so hard to aim these long distances. But, he's going to murder me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Oh, he's very slow. And dead! Wow, that's really hard to aim. There you go. Oh, that's the big coily thingy. I saw a bunch of terminals with that earlier. That must be like the actual cannon that resets Earth. Is the implication that everybody is dead forever on here? Like, can I save any of the people from the entropy facility? E's gonna save me.
Unfortunately, none that don't involve dying.
I'm gonna get saved by E. Yep. There it is. I've played a video game before.
this place is weird.
It's working. They are withdrawing.
Whew, that was close. Thanks, E.
Okay. You could have just done that the whole game. I don't see a computer. Oh, they're secret computers, but they don't have emails.
We're here. The main deck should be right up ahead.
This is an Entropy Centre. The emergency announcements must
Stuff they're writing is so stupid.
possible. In 2 minutes.
You're stuck here. This has all happened before. The end or the beginning. That's all they have to say. Oops. Any emails? Not there. Oh god, there's another. Oh god, there's so many computers. Not that one, not that one. Okay. Ah, there's one over here. Thank god they're always facing away from me, so I have to check them all manually. That's my favorite part of the game. Why'd they insist on doing that? Like, if you fill a room with computers, I'm going to check every single one of them because then one of them might have the email. Maybe it's the best part of the story so far. This has all happened before? Hashtags? It's just, it's so hilariously unsubtle. Okay. Entropy. Yup. They're just defining entropy! The last sign of the game, maybe, is just the dictionary definition of entropy. Entropy, lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder, a state of disorder, or a tendency toward such a state. Chaos. Uh-huh. This game's really funny. So it's oh. Do you see now? You can't fix this, Arya. You know how this ends. Oh. Technically this game's ending on like the same overall message as like Outer Wilds, but like one of those resonated with people really hard, and I don't think this is gonna resonate the same way. I say gonna, but it came out ages ago, so you already know. I think I'm a year or two late to this. I forgot actually how late I am to this game. These doors don't open. They might open after I press the button. There might just be no more emails in the game. I might have missed like 10 of them or something. More than I expected.
Entropy device is now live. Starting initialization sequence. Damage detected to entropy device. Initialization sequence stopped. Please repair the entropy device rotation axle to continue initialization sequence.
Directive. Travel to the end of the entropy device and proceed with required maintenance.
This is how it happens, isn't it?
Somehow I knew this wasn't going to be easy.
This probably happens every time. She goes to the entropy device, she repairs it, but she ends up being caught in the beam or something and it rewinds her. Oh my goodness. Why would you build it like this? Life and death depends on this shit and you built this like this. Like, Portal was this way because it was Portal and it was happening to you, but like this is just the intended use case of this structure? What the fuck? Oh my god, it's big. We're supposed to think that scientists and in like poor like middle-aged machinists had to do this? Thank you for explaining to me what the game was. Oh, I better hurry up. I might not have held W good enough. Oh, it exploded again. It felt like the Earth almost repaired itself back into a normal shape up for a while there. Maybe the parts that were flying off were just out of line of sight. I feel like it's been more than 20 seconds. Maybe I misheard what they were saying.
Directive. Rewind the entropy device.
That's our only solution for anything. Okay. I guess we do just have a magic repair things gun, so that would just become your solution to most things.
It's working.
Detecting 1 personnel in entropy field area. Please vacate immediately.
We're being exposed to the entropy core. Do you...
I know. It's okay.
But I'm not sure you'll make it. It's my directive to keep my puzzle operatives safe.
I know. But I don't think this is the end for us. Trust me. I think I understand
Entropy
now.
device repairs on 70%.
Okay. I trust you, Arya. It's been nice having this journey with you.
You too, Astra. We did it.
Then we wake up again, I guess. Oh, hello. Oh, this is the intro. Where I wasn't sure what I was looking at back then. Yo. Can you hear the things? There's like a voice echoing from it. Yep, so we're stuck in a hell of just infinitely looping. As long as we do it, Earth never completely goes away, except it's literally in a state of currently exploding, so it's not great. Bad news for her. But if she doesn't rewind and lose her memories, she can't redo the puzzles, which means she can't save the Earth again. But the issue is she's maybe never saving Earth. She's just holding Earth in a constant state of currently exploding. Okay, well this is different. The walkway was definitely more straightforward and empty last time, wasn't it? Why does this keep happening? You know this was here last time. Huh. I'm not sure what that little detour change added to the previous experience. Oh, there's a bunch of parallel ones out there. Is that the timelines I've done so far? Oh, I'm floating. Because those are lit up and those ones aren't. Oh, Earth is way closer and smaller than expected. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm the only reason you're alive. Hello, Europe. I can recognize that part. Oh. Yep, those are the timelines so far, and those are the ones we haven't done yet. So that's just how I'm gonna keep... Yep, those are Earths. And I guess those are not burning Earths over down there. Okay. Nope. Oh. I'm flying forward to the next timeline. Hi, Earth. Uh-huh. Huh. That's both a non-literal space, but it was also extremely literal in its expression of what it's conveying. Like, deeply unsubtle that you're like, now time to do the next timeline. Why the fucking smileys? They're so strange. It's like an unhinged, like, I'm crazy smiley. Huh. There's probably a 14-year-old that played this and thought it was really, really deep. But that was extremely funny to play as a as an adult. You're like, huh. No, I get it. Yup, it's the next timeline. I don't know, I got mean by the end of this, I guess. But, yeah, overall, about half the game's, like, has, like, decent puzzles. It kind of peters out, and just, like, I feel like they ran out of steam and creativity and new things to introduce. The action sequences suck. All the enemies suck. The levels were pretty decent for some of the game. Some of the mechanics are bad. Specifically, the stupid make this block grow is so stupid. Like, I said before how it basically breaks the game's rules by existing, but it's also just like not very interesting overall. Just not an amazing item. Narratively, it just feels like the game's not curious enough about its own premise to really explore the insane world building you could do there. So like I'm left with a lot of questions, and it feels like there's a lot of contradictions. It definitely feels like the game started with the idea of you're in an infinite time loop because you keep having to save the world by solving these puzzles. But then they're like, I think they started with the end point of there being a time loop to where you're Sisyphusing. You have a Sisyphean task of holding the world together as it explodes, and then they worked backwards from there. And then they'd be like, well, how do you? But you have to solve these puzzles every time, right? So you have amnesia, the puzzle energy is how you're saving the world. Like they're kind of working backwards there from their like Portal-inspired story. Just kind of really awkward storytelling throughout the whole thing. And it kind of fell flat there. And yeah, the puzzle stuff, I feel like there's a better game in here somewhere if they cut it down to like 4 hours or something. Just make it a nice short and sweet game, which like a lot of puzzle games aren't that long, especially the Portal-inspired ones. But I feel like they tried to stretch it out too long by having 15 acts, and they increasingly just didn't have great ideas for some of them. Like some of the acts are like, this act has the stupid tower box. This act has fans. Like just not especially interesting mechanics at that, but by the time you get to those ones. So you can cut those chapters all together. Some of the puzzles just got weak. But ultimately, it might be a condemnation of the entire formula that, it might be a bit of a condemnation of the entire premise that, like, by the time you get to the end, they just did not come together into, like, cool, interesting puzzles at the end. The final 2 chapters where you return to form and start doing normal puzzles again, but none of them are new, so that means, like, the premise is that it's going to be now, here's you, solving puzzles via combining everything at once. Like, everything's on table now, time to go crazy. Like, they were finally unrestrained, and the tutorialization structure of the game so far was now done, and they could throw everything at you, and everything turned out to be not that interesting. They just didn't really have any more puzzles left to give us, and that's just kind of unfortunate. And I guess just maybe the act of rewinding stuff and making that such a core game mechanic all the time just doesn't have enough legs for it to pay off in a cool way. Because a lot of those mechanics, like the bounce pad, like most of the game when you have a bounce pad around, you just need to put it in the series of spots you're going to need to jump at, and then put them there in that order, and then just rewind them. And so it's like you kind of hit the complexity cap on a lot of these things. But who knows? Maybe if you go into like custom levels, if there's like a big community of this stuff, maybe in here people have come up with like really cool stuff, you know? Oh, registration. Do you need to like join, or is this just open like sign in with Steam? Uh-huh. It'll be kind of interesting to see if like the audience has come up with cool stuff. But yeah, I think overall this kind of fell flat as a puzzle game. I think there's a few hours of decent game in there, and you could extract that into a smaller, more concise game without all of the stuff that didn't work. Attention all Entropy Center staff. We would like to announce that our annual puzzle design trial is underway. Think you got blah 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 blah. Yeah, I get it. I get the basic idea. It stands out to me that one of the ways that Portal 1 escalates things that's interesting is that you're stuck in the test chambers very restrictively for the entire, like, hour that the base game happens during. Then there's little peeks behind the curtain with the Ratman stuff that gives you the hint that there being a larger world. And then, at the end, the last half an hour or so, or last half of the game is... depending on, I think the more you play the game, the more it becomes like the entire second half of the game, basically, is you get to play the entire world so far. Sorry, I lost my train of thought and just shit myself there mid-sentence, I guess. What's interesting about where that ultimately goes is that you've been stuck in these chambers learning all these mechanics in a tutorial sort of way. Then the narrative escalates and raises the stakes, and it's time to fight Gladys. And so you break out of a level, and now you're using all of the mechanics that have come up so far, but in a new context of you navigating the actual laboratory facility outside of the test chambers. So you feel like you're getting away with something the whole time, but also, like, that's the part where all at once every puzzle mechanic is on the table all the time, and it's all part of the game now, and the narrative's going after you, and so it feels like the real game started all of a sudden. You're like, oh, here we go. But this game, you were going outside the test chambers constantly. You were never stuck in the test chambers to begin with, because this is it's the people that do the tests work here and are just doing them for, not for fun, but like they're allowed to walk around and get snacks and stuff. So the game was constantly having us wander around and see behind the curtain and do world building stuff. But that meant there was nowhere to go. Like, it almost feels like the final boss of the game, I guess not entirely in complexity levels, but like one of the biggest things that the game did was probably the part where it there was that part where the elevator broke and we were in that big tall building and we had to climb our way up it. That felt like a bit like it could have been more of a narrative moment, because it felt like, oh, we have to actually use what we've done so far to navigate the world. But I don't know, that might have just been like a particularly interesting-ish looking moment in a game that was just packed with you being able to walk around in the public spaces all the time. So like they couldn't really play that card because it already had happened. And like what else are you gonna do? Like put you in a non-literal dream space and solve puzzles there? Put you in space and solve puzzles there? I guess the best they could have done is maybe having you actually climbing around the surface of the entropy gun and having to solve puzzles on its surface, maybe? But, yeah, I don't know. It kind of just petered out. It's kind of insane to me that the final puzzle was the one that it was, because it just wasn't very interesting. Let's see, downloads today, rating, total downloads, master level, lost Entropy Centre level, laser testing. Oh, these go down pretty quickly in number, so it seems like it wasn't a super duper popular thing. I don't know. I actually don't know how many upvotes are common for these kinds of games. Let's see. Stubby games. That's interesting. Well, if there's 6 master levels that are made by Stubby Games, maybe I should check those out. WASD levels also by Stubby Games? Is that just like a goofy, jokey thing? How many levels were made by Stubby Games specifically? Well, this hasn't been a super long game. Maybe I'll check out all of these master levels. I think I'm gonna take a break for now, and I'll come back for either the rest of this episode or next episode or something, and we'll see what these 6 master levels are. And I guess we'll be free of the narrative, and we'll just be seeing the developers push their own level design to their maximum and see if how worthwhile that turns out to be. Alrighty, I was out of time at the end of the last bit I recorded and didn't have time for any more Entropy Centre, but I went off and I recorded 4 hours of Rain World and 6 hours of Silent Hill Downpour and 12 hours of Luigi's Mansion 2 and 8 hours of Satisfactory, and I think I'm finally ready to come back to this project and come back and see how the master levels go and then figure out what to do with that footage. If it's, I don't even know if this is its own video or stitch onto the previous one because I don't know how long they're going to be. Greetings. I found this secret bonus campaign. Let's do it. I uninstalled it. Oops. This is right. This is just a screen where you install the Met levels. I guess I have to go somewhere else to physically play them. There you go. Yep. Nope. Well, almost clicked on uninstall again. So many chances to uninstall. Is this a warning? Okay. I probably remember how to play this game. Ah, flickering. We're out on an island. There's the big cannon out in the distance. These levels might... I wonder how much these levels might take place in the middle of this big lake or something, because it's just like an open area. I'm reminded of like how when Forge was added to Halo 3, I think? Or Reach or something? I mean, it's on most of them since then, I think, but when they added Forge to Halo and you can make your own levels out of composites, like prefab chunks and everything, a lot of levels just kind of float over the lake in the biggest level that they have, because that just gives you the ability to not have to deal with the actual game geometry, because they technically had you working with the existing geometry. Okay, so there's a lock that's locking this door. Here we have the ice draining barrier. Forgot about this a little bit. Good. That appears to be the door at the end of the level. What's this one do? Oh, it opens that door. Man, this is a really bad asset for a puzzle game. This should not be in the game. It hurts your eyes, but also, like, I talked about this before, but they're riffing on Portal, and Portal goes to such great lengths to create clarity visually about what's happening. One of the things they did remember to use from Portal is these wires that literally just connect to the thing you're interacting with, but being able to use your eyes too would be helpful. Like, this thing is bad for that stuff, but also, like, it's kind of just often hard to look at and see where the interaction spot is. Okay, so that opens that door. That opens that door. I have to open that door to continue that way, and that door to continue that way. There's a sign up there. That's just cosmetic. I got a bounce pad. This button opens this guy up. Go ahead and just press these buttons the analog away for a moment so I can just hop up there and see what the level's like. Entry bot Mark II. Does all those things. Garbage. How'd all this garbage even get up here? I feel like that's a reasonable question, right? Like, why is this a specific place full of detritus? Where these rocks fall from? Like, where could these rocks and concrete have fallen from, given the location? Why is there so much, like, weird torn up cardboard here? Who is storing their construction fences in this specific wedge of the second floor of a puzzle chamber that you can only get to via a bounce pad? I mean, the scaffolding, so I assume at some point there was, like, also, like, stairs, and also you can climb scaffolding, but, like, what? I know I did a lot of this at the beginning of the playthrough, and then I think I mostly slowed down, but this, because this is from the developer of the game, that's why I'm pointing this stuff out. They have such a strange sense of environmental storytelling. They really do just kind of add clutter whenever there's a space that feels like it would look nicer if there was just, like, some clutter there instead of it being empty. But the clutter just basically never stands up to you just being like, huh, I wonder what that means. Wait, what? Like, you came out to a beach island and you built this place, right? That's the point of this place, is you built it in a really open area in a glass dome. Where is debris falling from that even would get here? Who brought all their garbage up here? Anyway, that's just me going back to the same shit again, but I think about it. Alright, so part of the test seems to be here that there are there's two things behind this barrier. And there are 4 buttons overall. This one opens this one, that one... Oh, that one disables the barrier. You just gotta get to the end of this level. Okay. I assume there's nothing hiding back here. This is kind of more space over here. I take it these are like levels that they gave players so that they could... This must be a space that was given so players could develop levels. And it just kind of sticks out like that in each direction. Or something. I don't know. There's weird negative space that I think I'm not supposed to actually really consider right now. I think what stands out to me is that this is just a walkway across here, right? So I don't ever need to use the bounce pad as a bounce pad to traverse the level. I just need to do it at the beginning here. And then I just rewind that back through a series of spots, basically. So the idea is that I just have the bounce pad push the last one, right? Reset these. So that's their origin point. Then I rewind it to here. And then rewind it over there. So you're gonna be here next. Da 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 da. The main thing here is just the fact that I need to rewind this one first so that it opens that door. Otherwise, that barrier will ruin everything. This is an advanced test chamber, so I was actually anticipating a more complicated solution where I have to use the bounce pad to bounce over the barrier while holding this and then somehow get on the buttons or something, but I don't think anything else is going on here. I think that's basically it. As long as line of sight is maintained, we're safe. I just need to very carefully not accidentally rewind it past this platform. But drop it. And then just hold this down until it's done. Now this is open. Huh. I'm gonna downvote that one. Play a different level. That was an advanced level? It's just putting buttons... It's just putting blocks on buttons in a specific order to walk down a hallway. That's like the first skill that's established and tested in this game. I don't know why they would feel the need to make something that like, I'm a little worried that that might be just like indicative of this is like the peak of their mechanical expression in this game. But it might just be that they felt the need to make the first one easy, like a tutorial, like that your instinct is there when you make a campaign of any kind, but that was so trivial that it felt pointless to even make, given that we already played the entire base game, where we did that most of the time. Okay. Big ol' waves. Interesting little like seam right here in the water. Like specifically kind of makes a wall here on both sides. I think they made a big oscillating wave, but it tiles. So I think every now and then there's a seam between each tile on the grid, and they happen to put the tile in the middle of this level. But that's just me guessing. I don't know how fluid simulation works, or in this case, implied fluid simulation. Oh, hello. Okay, where does it go? Okay, it's not powered. That would do it. This does immediately look like there's more going on here. So something is over there. I can't really see what. We're pretty isolated around here. But I think it might be a laser box. There is a red one. Okay, so... Why did it not... It lit... Yeah, it lit that. There we go. Yeah, I was surprised that me rewinding it didn't light the beam again. Okay. Lets me go up here. There is a box up here, which you can put on a button. What does it do? Okay, so we want this to stay as this box's origin point, probably, because that looks like it's the end of the level up there. However you get up there. So whatever I do, if I rewind it back to up here, it'll press that button and let me out at the end. I have forgotten what these are a little bit. Purple and blue. Is that the bounce one? And then purple is... what was the purple block? I'll just go test with this thing, because it's the one that I can grab without any... Oh, it's the bridge one. Purple's bridge. Which makes sense, because I already thought about how I need to get from there to there, which implies that the bridge exists in this level. But pushing this button will get me over there. Okay. Very bright. Alright, so... What do I do with a lift that just goes out to the middle of nowhere? You might go there with the blue one. Let's see. I think, just so I can process this, I think it's important to reduce the complexity by going up there, grabbing that block, and bringing it down here. And I just need to very carefully never reset it, because I want this to be its origin point. So let's go back down with it. And whenever I experiment with this block, I just need to rewind it back to this location so that it doesn't, go back to that island, but also I want to still be able to, I still want that to be the path it has. So we need to very carefully not ruin that. Can I reduce its arc a little bit? It does fall straight down instead of going all over the place. Although apparently just made its duration longer. Why did... Wait, do you guys float? Oh, they float. This thing has 50 seconds of recorded time? I didn't know that was even on the table. That's so much more budget than I expect. So I believe we want to put a bounce pad on this bridge. Lets me hop across. And I'm basically already there? So that laser's no longer part of the puzzle because I just got this. As long as this can still be rewound to up there, that I never have to press that laser again, I just need to get over here. So I turned that into a bounce pad. and bring it across there. That should be all I need. The main question is whether or not it will expire the budget of the stuff. Well, the concern is whether or not I'll run out of rewind budget with this device. I also have to be mindful that this has to push this button and take it over there. I can't rewind it back to there because bounce pads don't function when they're being rewound. But yeah, I've essentially already solved the puzzles. The question right now is just whether or not this thing has the budget to rewind it back to where I want it to. Or if it's going to reset. This is where I get worried. Okay, it does have a very long recording duration. But if it is broken, the level of complexity we're dealing with is just that I need to reset my method. Yeah, I think I'm fucked. And doing the reset will be kind of annoying, unfortunately, but it's whatever. Okay. So the main thing is that when I recorded pressing the buttons and going back and forth, that was already on it, so it recorded all of that time and did that. Alright, let's just restart. It'll be easier than anything else I can do. Okay. You need to become laser. So you no longer need to be laser. It's a little goofy how the rules are all over the place on whether or not you can rewind stuff and have its powers work. So the laser beam maintains its laser state, no matter what. But the bridge cannot be a laser that's in rewind state, and the bouncy pad cannot be a rewinder that's I lost my train of thought trying to like phrase it while also play the game. But like they just don't do their functions when they're currently suspended in midair or rewinding and so on, but the laser does. That's just kind of goofy and all over the place functionally. So you need to go back to being this guy. And your one job is to rewind to that, to take that out there while it's a bounce pad. And, yeah, now it's not going to go back and forth, so it should have the time budget to do just fine. Make sure I'm past the barrier. Almost missed. Alright, so as long as I haven't ruined its time budget, it should now rewind all the way back up to the place. Looks like it. Is this it also? I think it is. I'm kind of shocked. This is the advanced chambers by the developers of the game, which implies they're intended to be high-level play for players that have beaten the entire game already. I'm gonna downvote that one. These are not challenging so far. That's interesting. There's 1,000 upvotes for the first one. You could potentially just say that people like upvote things that are easier more because they feel good or something. But I think that people might have tried the first couple and then bounced off really hard. More than 50% of people stopped after the first one. And were like, oh. And then just didn't continue, it looks like. That's interesting. it's always hard to say for sure. Like, for example, I'm a YouTuber. The first part of every series I ever upload has a massive audience compared to literally every other thing. It's like there is always going to be the element of people just, oh, this window's not attached to this wall. I'm out of the level now. That's not the best sign for the third level. But like, there's always a huge audience for the first episode, and then they drop off immediately. Admittedly, I play video game. I cover video games, so often people are just looking up the video game and don't care about me. So there's a lot of like, there is some corruption of the data. But there's a variety of reasons that can explain all sorts of things. So I get on some level that inherently, when you make a series of levels, it's always going to have the highest audience on the first level, because that's where they start. And then inevitably people will just not continue for any infinite number of reasons. So it is not always entirely fair to interpret intent and reason in that concept. But I do find it kind of noteworthy at first glance. That's my gut reaction, is like, oh, over half of people seem to have stopped playing after the first level. So I think it may have been a mistake to make the first level so easy that it feels like this is going to be a waste of time. I guess I could just wander around their like custom level land. I think we're getting a hint of like which zones around here are like, oops, don't fall in. Like those are the placeholder spots. I think that's the first level's location because there's that weird orange part that sticks out. That's probably not it because that was close to a wall. Like there's a spot over there. There's the place I was up there. It seems to be the expanded landscape that was technically visible in the background of the base game. I don't know if it's the same landscape, like if it actually matches. This seems to be a space to let people do an indoor environment. It kind of highlights how the lighting system's not ready for this kind of location. What it really reminds me of is it reminds me of playing Satisfactory. The final build of that game that we're playing right now is more pretty, but there has always been like a jankiness to underground environments. Because they're like, well, it's got to be more textured and more gritty. You can't just be like the above ground is like a big sand dune or a big grassy knoll or whatever, but here we have to like make it look like rock and stuff. And really quickly the seams kind of start to show in how it's all rendered. Also reminds me a bit of Supraland. The sort of like copy-pasty element that is always involved when indie games have to start making caves and cliffs. This is just kind of cute because it's like, it feels like we're behind the veil and we're running around out of bounds and in a space we're not supposed to be in and getting to explore the, what was originally like long distance scenery? Maybe not. This looks like it might be completely made up for this mode. It looks like it's just a big dome full of a bunch of flat surfaces and scenery. Because that's towards the main facility, because that's what that asset technically refers to. But I don't think it has continuity of environment with the base game of any kind. Mainly because I don't see any actual facilities anywhere. So they probably deleted them all for this. Sorry if this is the most boring thing ever, but I'm just like, look at this. It takes me back to playing Halo 2. Back when I used to engage with multiplayer games that were technically competitive, but didn't really engage that much with the inherent ranked competitiveness of them. So instead I spent a lot of time playing Halo 2, just hanging out in custom lobbies with people and like interacting and talking and fucking around with the in-game stuff. And one of the big things was that if you went to the right spot on each map, there was almost always a way to break out of the boundaries of the maps in almost every Halo 2 multiplayer map. There was like one really game-breaky bad place in, like, I think it was called Midship or whatever it was called, where you could throw the oddball up on a ledge and then it was just like unplayable because no one could get up there. But beyond that, usually it wasn't game-breaking, it was just weird. Like, you usually didn't actually get much of an advantage for doing it, so it wasn't really helpful. But it was just really cool being able to, like, leave the levels and wander around. So, it was a fun little... Oh, testing area 01. It's a fun little hobby to just kind of like load up with your friends, use the weird sword glitch and the rocket glitch to figure out how to fly around the level or jump on people's heads to infinitely platform, and just break out of the bounds and wander around in the background. It's like seeing behind the theme park facade. You could do some of that with the original World of Warcraft too, back before they had to add flying to the game and therefore had to redo all of the stuff that was technically inaccessible before and wasn't finished. I think there's nowhere else to go. Oh no, she's dead. Okay, back to the level I didn't even look at because I immediately fell out while I was trying to do my whatever topic I was on originally. That's funny that it's just like an opening right there, and it's like the first thing I saw, like it's not anywhere else. Extremely goofy. Alright, okay, we got a bridge. This is locked. A curved platform, that's a little trippy to see. I think we never saw that. In quite this way, at least. So my goal is to put a laser there. Which you could maybe just turn that over there and I might be able to see. Or maybe the laser can't shoot through this grate, in which case you'd have to get it like up here and suspend it. Well, you wouldn't have to suspend it on the bridge itself, because you could... well, one, you could just do it at an angle, but also even if it was on the bridge itself, you could suspend it in midair with rewind without having to worry about this kind of stuff, because that's not how it works. Let's see. So there's some way to get over there, probably via that. So that goes through walls. This will launch me across when the button is pressed. The issue is more that I don't think I can place this in a spot that lets me platform across. Is it pointing up slightly? Oh, this gets me across the whole level. And this does work through walls. Got it. Okay. Let's look around at the rest of the level. So this has to... This button has to be pressed to open the other half of the door. Which means that one has to do it, I think. Because I think there's no other boxes. Yeah. So that's the only box. So that one has to come down here to press this side. And then I have to take it back up there to do the other stuff somehow. Which this laser can help with. Yes, let's be very careful. I gotta remember that if I ever touch that barrier, I lose all of my gun data. That's the rule that's slightly hard to remember about this game, is that it works that way specifically. Pressing this button here is pointless, because the other one has to do it, because that one's the laser one, and the laser one can't shoot diagonally up. Don't know if I ever need this spot ever again, but just in case. Yeah, I just want to rewind that one last, because I don't want this barrier to come back up, because it'll ruin everything. So I need to go down there and press the button, then climb back up here and give myself the bridge again. So the button is pressed. I guess both are ways of getting across. So right now, I can rewind you back down to there, then you back up to there. I think I already solved it. Let's see. I don't understand how these are advanced chambers. What? We're 50% done already. This is a rough showing so far. I'm not asking for infinite complexity of just being like, oh yeah, do this incredibly obnoxious 50-stage sequence. Thankfully, the game can't do that. The audience would try to do stuff like that because sometimes the audience of these games is really bad at making levels, and they make really obnoxiously complicated ones that aren't actually asking you to think that much. They're like, what if the level's really has way too many steps? We're kind of defended against that because these guys have a time budget, so they can't go that far back in time. They can only go back like 40 seconds or something usually. I don't know, the time budget seems to be inconsistent. I thought it was originally like 30 seconds, and then sometimes it seems like it might be almost a minute now, but yeah, that does limit the obnoxiousness of that idea. But I am genuinely a little worried that like the concept of a Entropy Centre puzzle might be limited to just the idea of the equivalent of like using the rewind powers to basically like untie a knot. Like you have a tangled thread and you need to untangle the thread, but the twist is that you have to like envision it backwards in the sequences that you would do it. But like it really is like, oh, I have to open these doors in this order, then press these buttons in the reverse order, then rewind them. Whoa! Which is like the first idea the game has. And it feels like we haven't gotten past that point to some extent. This isn't about being mean, it's just like, at this point, it really is just like looking at like, huh, did they just like back themselves into the corner from the get-go with their premise? Like, does their actual puzzle mechanic just not have that much of a, like, really legs to it? So I can press this to take that block across that valley. Like here, this is a moment, like, I could be wrong, but at first glance, this entire part of the level is going to become dead level in a moment. Like, it looks like I'd have to do something here, but it really looks like it might just be fast forward. It's just like, oh, I push it over there. I pause it midair and grab it. I probably did it wrong just now, because I think I needed to put it closer to the edge of the elevator, because I didn't even fully plan out what I was doing yet. Whoops. Can't grab it. Yeah. It's not universally and always a thing, but I do kind of see dead level as a bad thing in puzzle games. Just the idea that you just, like, well, oh, this area has one thing to do, and then you just are done with that part of the level forever. It's funny because I was explaining the concept earlier in this playthrough, but it wasn't as obvious what I meant potentially, because previously I was talking about it in terms of like basically the fact that like they'll put like an item up on a ledge, you're like, oh, how do you get it? And then you just like use the bounce pad to get up there or whatever, then you grab the item and bring it down, and then that ledge now would just be irrelevant to the rest of the puzzle. Like, it just doesn't matter anymore. You'll never go back there again. So it was just like a little bit of busy work before you can start the puzzle. But in some cases they at least had you do an interesting little interaction to get there, which meant that there was a puzzle on the way there. But it does still just feel weird when it's like there's a whole chunk of the level that just isn't relevant anymore after you first get through it, and then you just move on to the rest of the puzzle. It definitely feels like it's going to do that. But we'll see. Okay, so this it can open the door for me and let me through. And then there's a launch pad over there, which only works if I press the button. Okay, so I just put this here, reset. And then I stand here. Alright, weird glitch, but whatever. Oh, turned into a laser. Okay. That could have been a destructive outcome if it became something that's worse than what it was, but it just gained a feature. So I don't think that's a puzzle. I don't think I have to worry about that either. And I guess we have our second instance of dead level. It being a regular block is irrelevant now. This ledge here is irrelevant. We're never going back there. I can just rewind this so it can't be rewound there, and then I don't have to worry about messing up. That is irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Yeah. To be clear, you can't make universal rules about anything, so don't just like... First of all, don't take some YouTuber's opinions as universal rules about how game design should work. People do that way too much in anyway. I'm just like exploring the idea out loud. But you definitely can, and it frequently does happen, that puzzle games have the like companion cube sort of like process where it's like you go through a gauntlet with your little buddy. You and an object have to go through an entire level together like co-op partners, and you have to keep pressing the next button to go forward, and then every time that happens it can then do the thing for you. It can like, you can manipulate it to then open the next thing for you, and then you open the next thing for it, and you kind of like sort of like almost like working like a co-op partners in a Resident Evil game, except or something like that, except one of the you is a box. I think there was even some levels of Portal that were like that too. There's a sort of camaraderie vibe to that thing. In fact, that was like, I think that was the exact idea for the like the weighted companion cube that has the heart on it and everything, is they have you, they play ludonarratively with the idea of having you build a rapport with this stupid cube that has a heart on it, so that you feel attached to it because you needed it to solve these puzzles, and then you have to burn it in the incinerator, and they judge you for how quickly you burn it in the incinerator. Like that was the joke. But so that's like an example of dead level that isn't necessarily evil. But I don't know. It just depends on how interesting you make it. Those first two things I've done are strange because they're just it feels like wasteful level design, but also like this is the fourth advanced chamber, so I'm just like slightly worried at this point that like, hang on a minute. Oh, that's the end of the level. Okay. So reset it here, it will be rewound to that spot. Oops. I did genuinely fuck up. You can't reset it in that state. Because there's no blue barrier, there's no red barrier in here, you can't turn it into a laser. That's the only red barrier. It does have to be in a rewind mode. Oops. So yeah, I gotta send it through this. It's funny because I was looking at the ledge and I'm like, why is there a ledge here? That seems a little goofy. Like, why would I need that? And then then the thing dropped. It hit me and I'm like, oh, right. This issue. Alright, so let's turn you into a cube and then put you here. Okay, this is a little more complicated than it seemed at first glance. I kind of fell back into the same trap again. So I believe the trick here is that the rewind works the opposite of the way of how I would want it to in this situation, because I need this bridge to be here, and I need this laser to be here, and the rewind order would take it from the final state into... I want it to be able to... I want it to be a laser that I can rewind into being a bridge, but this thing only works in one direction. If I rewind it, I can turn it into a laser, And if I walk through it manually, I can make it into a bridge. But I cannot turn it, like, my go-to instinct is to put it like this, reset it here, because I want that to be the endpoint, right? Then walk it through this thing to make it into a laser, and then put it there. And then I would simply walk out there and then rewind it to there, and I'd be done. But that part doesn't work. So, I guess the idea here instead is I do in fact basically want to rewind it here. I want this to be the frozen state, but then I have to functionally redo the previous part of the level. Because if I do this, it can then become a laser again without rewinding. But that's not how I do it. So part of my goal is to take it through this whole process, but I need to not reset it. Is now a laser. There we go. Now, if I didn't mess anything up, it should be able to rewind all the way back and turn into a beam and be here. So the funny thing is I'm eating shit right now, in that I was wrong about this particular part of the level being dead level. So like it stopped being an example of what I was talking about, which is funny. But anyway, I'm wrong on camera all the time. I still think the idea stands overall. This technically did a thing we've never done before, I think. I don't really like this level, but it feels like it did more than the other ones did on some level. This was 4, right? Yeah, we've already done 4 out of 6. Okay. It's still not advanced, I would say. I was a little worried I'd be like genuinely interacting with something really difficult here, but the opposite is maybe worse. Of just like being like, hang on a minute, wait. Do they not really have much more to do here? Who knows who actually made these levels though? They're credited to the developers of the game, but which developers? Is it the entire team that made the base game or what? Who knows? It's just a fun little island. I don't mean to be so negative, but it's definitely just like, it's worth pointing out when the advanced levels by the developers don't seem to be doing much of note. Alright, so let's look around and figure out what I'm looking at here. That goes across to there. That's just a continuous beam. So if this beam is broken by anything, probably a button, probably a box frozen in midair, this will become locked and that barrier will go away. Is that the exit? So there's a button up there. There's a lock up there. Is the button up there? Also, do red barriers hurt me? I don't remember. Oh, red barriers are physical walls. Okay, well at least I can look up there. Okay, so I just need to take the item with me upstairs. It looks like. So me and the box both need to get to the final platform, and then I put it on that, and it'll let me through. I guess that's also why this exists. You know, it might be part of the puzzle itself too, but it lets me actually look around. So that's the goal, there's the flag, there's the button. There's a conveyor. 2 separate conveyors, that's potentially of note. It has 2 separate, that might just be a bigger catch zone to make it work better. Or it might be, there might be some value in being able to rewind them separately. And that just makes that go that way. I am a little perplexed by this one, and that I am a little uncertain of how you start the puzzle, because I have so little interaction with anything around here that it makes me wonder what you do. So I'm a bit intrigued there. There's nothing behind here. Let's see here. I guess one question is whether or not I can just physically block this beam. No, because they don't let you put stuff up in the air. You can't lift things high above yourself. So I can't block the button manually. This whole platform just seems to be a point of view. I don't think it doesn't look like something you'd interact with. I can't get on this conveyor. This elevator doesn't go up or down. It does clip though. So what do you do? When there's a laser field blocking you from accessing the entire rest of the level, and the way of getting across it is technically after where you are in the level? What does the reset do? It just puts it right there. It wasn't like a weird secret where like this thing technically was from upstairs or something. Okay, so one of us has to get up there. Oh wait, is it this simple? Yeah. Oh, it just blocks me. Okay, well that's a big deal. The red barrier only blocks the player and not the boxes. Alright, so now that's blocked. So now I can go up here. Okay. So that's the majority of the puzzle, kind of. Now the question is, how do I get over there and get the block to come with me? What happens when I hit R on this thing? Does it... Okay, it drops immediately. But technically, that's its rewind spot now. That might be good enough. But then I need to get across here. Which you can achieve in part by putting it here. But then I need to be able to get up there. Which means sending it back up there again, basically. That might be the whole puzzle, though. Do I just rewind it until it's back on that button? Then pluck it out of the air after the whole cycle? I guess I think my current concern is whether or not I'll be able to reach it. Okay, I'm falling off a little bit. It's right there. Nope. I think I basically solved the puzzle already, though, so it's not that complicated. but these are uncomfortably distant locations from each other. I can't rewind the elevator itself because that's just kind of one of the arbitrarily immune to your powers objects. Let me try something. Make it go all the way over there. Just kind of gonna do the thing I do where I just kind of zigzag something for a bit. Because it simplifies the process of having to like remember the exact second. It's like when I press a button over and over again between two buttons, and like then I don't have to exactly memorize the correct way of rewinding it or thinking about the time part of this process. Want to rewind it just enough that goes here. Drop it. Put it here. And not there. I forgot. Right, you need to go back up and loop again, is the next step. Ta-da! Just needed to come back over here now. Yeah, there's not much going on here for an advanced chamber. I spent an embarrassingly long time just not realizing that, like, I was stumped because I didn't realize it could go through the thing and I can't. Like, that's the rule for the red barriers. Whoops. But then after that it became pretty clear how to continue because that's the whole level. The struggle is that I'm not asking for inherently super complicated levels because they can just get annoying, but these levels are often so simple that each individual element only really has one interpretation of how it could be used or what it might be wanting from you. And so you just do that one thing and then you're done. That's just the whole process. So like the level that level I just did, and a number of them, like once you see what you're dealing with, they kind of just solve themselves to an extent if you just put the pieces together. That might sound like a thing that technically applies to old puzzles, and I get that it's kind of hard to explain the difference here, but like I think I said this earlier in the playthrough, but like a core element of why aha moments happen in puzzle games is because you encounter what feels like an inherent God damn it. You encounter what seems to be like a contradiction in the design. You're like, aha, my goal is to get that over there, but I can't because of this. Whoa, that's impossible. But then you find out, oh, you actually can do it because there's an even deeper reveal in the design. You're like, oh fuck, that's how you do it. And that's why the aha moment happens. Whereas if you don't have that kind of contradiction moment, that moment where it looks like it's impossible to solve the puzzle, you end up with what's functionally like paint by numbers. You're almost like following instructions. The equivalent of like It's like the difference between a puzzle platformer and a puzzle game and like a puzzle platformer, or even just a platformer. Where like a regular platformer, it's almost just like, okay, well, here's what you do. Here's how you defeat that enemy every time they show up. Here's how you do that jump every time it happens. If it's this height, you do a backflip. If it's that far, you do a long jump. And it's like, oh, it's like you're functionally following instructions, and it's a skill test. But like puzzle games aren't skill tests. It's not usually about execution. But anyway, I'm just on a billion things here. I'm just trying to break down, I guess, my thought process here instead of just being like, instead of just like burning through this in 20 minutes and being like, that was lame, and then moving on. Okay, so this will at some point press this button, probably. There's something going on up there. This turns things into bouncers. So there must be a second box somewhere, and I can turn it into a bouncer if I want to, and then rewind it through here to turn it back to normal, essentially. But it's like currently hidden from us in the level, so we don't know what to do with that yet. I probably won't be needing that spot. So if anything, I probably want it to be here, because I'm probably gonna have to come back down here when I get the other block, because I can't record it going through there if I'm not up there. I don't know what this is. I don't remember a yellow barrier existing, so I don't know what its rules are. Okay, I'm still not sure. It doesn't break my gun's rules, at least. It might just be a new barrier they made up that blocks me from taking an object through it, but it won't erase my gun. Because I was thinking that's probably going to break my gun if it erases my gun. Oh, and there's the one that blocks me. So this blocks objects and this blocks me. And then the blue one, not that one though, but the blue one of these erases my gun. And also just destroys objects. But these might be variations they made just for these levels to give us a new mechanics to play with. But the fact that that's the only new mechanic I'm seeing isn't the most promising thing. It says that they were open to introducing new mechanics, but not that part. Like, not a... they're just the form of these having different properties. It's almost like admitting that the blue version did too many things at once that was like limiting. It's like it was a barrier, because like there is like a value to having a barrier that just stops you from taking objects through, but doesn't reset your gun. Because having it reset your gun was fairly limiting as a mechanic. You just couldn't do much more with that at some point. Okay, so this blocks me, and noticeably there's no... I don't see anything connecting to it. So while this is at the height of up there, it seems like I can't physically reach over there through here. So I think I need to put a bounce pad down there and bounce all the way across, because they maintain height. I should be able to reach this height by bouncing off of a bounce pad. And I think that's where we're going with this. So that's an idea. And that's also what it would explain why that's down there. So I need to go down there. I probably need to turn both of them into bounce pads, frankly, because they don't really serve much of a purpose when they're not bounce pads. I don't see a reason to turn it back into a cube at some point, because the cube, as I've covered before, has no inherent properties that aren't replaceable by literally anything else. So I was thinking that I had to go down there, rewind it, but then I was going to have to like rewind it back out of that state and then bring it back up here, and something crazy was going to happen. But overall, it does not seem to be the case. So this kind of feels like an example of dead level, essentially. You do all of this, and it's not purposeless, because you do accomplish the goal of solving, let's see, put this here. It's not completely purposeless because it gives you the goal of exploring the level in the process of acquiring all the pieces. Okay, I kind of screwed myself here. I just kind of forgot where things were to go. Okay, overall, I think there is not really growing complexity because I can just turn that thing into the other object as I would like to do, and then it's just permanently that, and I don't have to worry about this element anymore. Could be wrong though, but as far as I can tell, I think we're now in a state where functionally. I can now start the puzzle, essentially. So you're gonna go here. You don't really need to be here either. I guess just over here would be fine, just somewhere in the middle, so I can jump at it. Then press this button, then unpress this button. Rewind this back to upstairs. Oh, I don't have to do with any. Yeah, then never mind. That's also pointless. I don't have to do. I just intuitively started going in the direction that the puzzle would be in. I'm like, oh, now I gotta do this sequence, and it's like, no, I don't. This is the end of the advanced chambers sequence. Okay, thank God. Okay, there's more. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay. I got lulled into a false sense of simplicity from the last ones, but no, okay. I do need to press these two buttons at some point to actually solve the puzzle. I was only operating in terms of getting over there. Still, just basically rewind that back over to there to press that button. This is the tougher part, is that I need this guy to be up here. That's interesting, but not super crazy. Basically, just has to. I just have to bounce it up here. I just have to carry it up here using the other bounce pad, and then I'll jump with it when I jump over there and get over there. The biggest thing about this level is that if I miss my jump, I have to start the entire puzzle over. Not the entire thing, but this entire part of it, and that's a personal peeve that I'm not psyched about it dealing with, but it happens. All right, so let's set this as its reset point. It's gonna go up there. And this will be essentially its spot. I'm moving a little fast here, but I think I basically did what I was supposed to do here. Just need to not miss this jump. There we go. And then it just goes over here. That little hop there was what this entire thing was. This is definitely not any harder than the later levels of the actual main game. The base campaign had harder levels than this. No, this is lame. Huh. Well, that's disappointing, but I did it, so we now know what those levels were and whether or not they were secretly the cool hard levels. Maybe the audience has come up with stuff, but I'm not gonna get super invested in like the entire Entropy Center community just to try to prove whether or not somebody can make cool puzzles with it. I guess the campaign, I think the campaign kind of peaked midway, like somewhere around the 75% point, because like the final puzzles were pretty easy. And then they had a bonus optional developer-made advanced level editor, advanced levels thing that has its own like go check them out, guys. Whoa, we made super hard levels to go with our new level editor, and that was the best they had in mind. Huh. Also, level browser's off-center compared to that sign. So is play levels. Both of these signs are off-center compared to they're all, are all of them? Oh, wait, it floats off the wall, so maybe that's, maybe I can send, no, that looks like it's still off-center. Anyway, whatever, that's not the point thing. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like they made a level editor because Portal 2 had a level editor, and that's like, a lot of this game's ideas came from Portal, like very heavily. But it kind of feels like they just didn't have the most puzzly puzzle minds ever to puzzle, and so they didn't really have more crazy ideas up their sleeve that they might have like cut from the main campaign for being too kooky and hard. Ultimately, this was just a few more really basic levels, extremely short ones, and then you have the thematic stuff and the narrative and narration all stripped from the experience, and you just see the raw puzzles, and they don't really have a ton to offer at that point. Oh well, on to the next game. See you next time.